All mitzvahs, a person is not yoytze unless you have kavana to do it for the purpose of a mitzvah. Let's say you have someone blowing shofar from Rosh Hashanah. He was just blowing. He wasn't having any, someone picked up a shofar, he was blowing, he wasn't doing it for the mitzvah. He's not yoytze, he didn't have kavana, so he has to redo it again. And also the person listening to the one blowing as well. If the person who was blowing didn't have kavana for the mitzvah, the one who's listening isn't yoytze either.
What if they didn't have a shaita?
If the one who's blowing was a shaita?
No, the one listening is a shaita.
Then he's not chayiv in Tekios Shofar.
Yeah. It's a big thing. I used to go to the hospital for years and I blew from.
If the person's mamish a shaita, then he's not chayiv in Tekios Shofar. Right? A regular choila is chayiv. I mean, it can't get out of the bed maybe, but if someone comes blows in the shofar, then...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shaita. You can't have kavana.
Shaila is glad if a shaita asks for someone to blow for him, you should blow for him. Now we say nashim, women are not chayiv in Tekios Shofar. But women do mitzvahs, like to do a lot of mitzvahs that, even if they're not chayiv, they like to do it. They like to sit in the sukkah, say Sfira Sa'omer, and so on and so on.
That's right.
So, Tekios Shofar the same thing. The only thing unique about shofar is that shofar is in essence really not supposed to be done on Shabbos. You're blowing an instrument on Shabbos and Yom Tif. So the women who are not chayev, l'chor, is an issue for them to blow. But Chazal or matter, it's a nachas ruach, to make a nachas ruach for women. And women should be able to feel good on Yom Tif. They really want to hear shofar. So Chazal said it's okay because the issur to blow shofar on Yom Tif, not for the purpose of mitzvah, is only an issur uvdin dechoil, a weekday activity, which is not a strict derabanan. Therefore, Chazal bypassed it for the purpose of nachas ruach for women.
So if I'm making kiddush and somebody asks, can you make kavana for me, biyotze, I'm allowed to do that?
Yeah, it's making a kiddush for you then also. Yeah.
No, make it for me, and I have 10 people here, so okay, make for us also.
Yeah,
This is
because then he's having kavana for you too.
when you're listening to the shofar, what kavana as a minimum should you have? This is a mitzvah for.
It's a mitzvah. I'm listening to be yoytze in the mitzvah. Yeah. Let's take a look. The next few sifim discuss these halachas of kavana. Kol ha-mitzvahs hein adam yoytze ben yidei chavasei ela im kein niskaven basiyasan she'oyse davazel l'shem mitzvah. A person is only yoytze when he has kavana, he's doing it for a mitzvah. Krishin is bar b'simin samach. Simin samach is the halachas of kriya shema. There is where it originally the Shofar talks about having kavana, because that's the first mitzvah min ha-Torah really discussed. The Firam is asked about Tekios Shofar to Islam, and someone who's blowing shofar to practice, you're not allowed to do that in Rosh Hashanah, it's also midrabanan, but someone who was doing that, lo yatsi dei chavasa, you're not yoytze because you didn't have kavanah for mitzvah. So you could have blown a beautiful Tekios, they're really good, but you didn't have kavanah for the mitzvah. So you got to do them again.
Not in Rosh Hashanah, if he's joining before.
But before there's no mitzvah. No, on Rosh Hashanah. On
Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah. Also the one who's listening from the one who's just blowing. The chiddush over there is even though the one who's listening did have kavanah l'shem mitzvah, the one who blowing is not blowing l'shem mitzvah, but the one who's listening is listening l'shem mitzvah. Say no, it's still a problem. Even since the one who's blowing did not have kavanah, you heard a pasla tkiya. So both need to have kavanah, the tekeya and the shemeya. Siva, v'chein tekeya l'shofar, someone who blew just because, not to practice, but because he liked the sound the shofar sounds like, it's like an instrument, musical instrument. So you weren't even doing it to practice, it was a step up. It wasn't just practice. You actually were doing this to blow. It's beautiful. Yeah, you're enjoying it. You like hearing it. Still in all the yatzah because you didn't have l'shem mitzvah. Someone who heard is also not yotzah. Now, Siv Zayin. What happens if you have one or the other? Someone, either the Tekios had Kavonoh, the Shemaya didn't have Kavonoh, or the Shemaya had Kavonoh, the Tekios didn't have Kavonoh. You're not yoitz until both had Kavonoh together. These kolalim, these rules apply to all mitzvah min ha-Torah. The din of misasik, we learned earlier, is that someone who doesn't think he's doing a mitzvah is not yoitza. Interesting shaila which happened years ago when the Rebbe came out with a campaign to put on tefillin on people that didn't put on tefillin yet, mitzvah tefillin. So Lubavitcher Chassidim were going around, this is by the 6-day war, and putting on tefillin with soldiers, and this became the Rebbe's initiating the mitzvah campaign. So one of the big Rosh Yeshivas that was close to the Rebbe was Rabbi Yitzchak Hutner of Shalom from Yeshivas Chaim Berlin. So he, in fact, he heard from some of the Chassidim about the mitzvah tefillin then in the beginning, and he was concerned that that some of the Jewish people that are putting on tefillin are, since they've been away from Yiddishkeit, they don't know what tefillin is exactly, and they're just being stopped of putting on. Maybe they don't know that these boxes that the tefillin have inside them parshios, and it's not just boxes. That there's inside it the 4 parshios of Shema, V'hoyin Shemaya, V'hoy Kriyacha. Maybe they don't know that this parashah, they think it's just boxes, that's the mitzvah. What was his problem? This was the shaila. The shaila was, Eina Chanami, the person who's putting on tefillin knows he's doing it for mitzvah. But his shaila was that maybe because they don't know the object of the mitzvah, they don't know what's inside, so they're considered a misasik, or we termed earlier in Sifhei, a misasik, someone who doesn't really know about the mitzvah. It's like someone who was eating matzah, but he didn't realize it's matzah, and he thought it was meat. He was thinking about something else, and he didn't know what he was eating. He was eating a cracker. He didn't realize it's matzah. So you're not yoyed to the mitzvah because you're misasik, even though you ate matzah. So he was saying that maybe if they don't know what's inside, what the components of tefillin are, even though they know they're doing a mitzvah, but they know the details of the mitzvah, they're not yoyed. So he wrote this as a letter to the Rebbe, asking him for explanation, because he knows the Rebbe is pushing for the campaign to put on. The Rebbe basically wrote back and said that the main thing is, in halacha, in order not to be considered in the status of a misasik, you know you're doing it l'shem the mitzvah. You don't need to know exactly what's inside. For example, a carbon. When someone is makdish a carbon for the mizbeach, he says, I want to give a carbon for the mizbeach. He makes a neder or nedava. Does he need to know all the limbs inside the animal? No, he knows it's an animal. He doesn't need to know the details inside. So he doesn't need to know all of Hilchas Tefillin. He doesn't need to know every part of Hilchas Tefillin. It's enough that he knows in general it's a mitzvah. He doesn't need to know what matzah is made out of. He needs to know that this is a matzah. He needs to know the ingredients of matzah. The details, this was a discussion about whether or not you know the details or not. It went back and forth.
You know if it's tracer is from an aisle? What if you think you're blowing from a lion's horn or a unicorn, but it's really a kosher shayfer?
No, then you're not yoitza, because you don't think you're doing a mitzvah at all.
You think you're blowing shayfer for Rosh Hashanah, you just think it's
you think that a mitzvah, you're yoitza mitzvah with such a thing.
Yeah.
It's a good shaila. I don't know if it's a problem. I don't know if it's a problem.
It's okay, right?
Could be it's okay.
No, because on the contrary, because it's called called Shofar, and you're not hearing the Shofar.
No, he's talking about an instance where.
Huh?
Sure you heard called shofar.
No, you said it's a unicorn.
He thought it was a unicorn.
Oh.
Well, then we have to think about it. That might not be a detail. He doesn't know anything at all about the mitzvah. These are some of the discussions about.
So what the Rebbe answered?
No, the Rebbe was very strong. The Rebbe defended his position very strongly.
If I was the Rebbe, I will answer like this. If you see someone want to put tefillin, for a second explain to him what's inside and then put it in.
No, that's what he wanted. He wasn't saying to stop the campaign. He was saying that that he wasn't campaigning in the mitzvah tefillin, but he was saying that those who are doing it should tell them But there's no end to it, because then you got to tell them not only there's 4 parshas, you got to tell them that it has to be made this way and that way and this and that.
The guy.
I was recently in Satmar Shul, it was in Satmar Shul, and there was a kafka, and I didn't know if I should put film. He was working there.
What's
You know,
kafka?
he never put on film before. A Russian kid, and he told me he was Jewish, and I so much wanted to put on film, but on the other hand, I didn't want them to get to stone me. I really had a shiloh if I should be myself.
I don't think today they would stone you.
You think I should have done it?
You have to be Satmar after that.
You put a yarmulke on him. If anyone comes to bother you, say he's a grandson of the Divrei Chaim, the grandson of the Divrei Sanza, everything will be good. They say of art once that someone was one time putting on tefillin with someone at the gas station attendant, and he was wearing all these tattoos and earrings and stuff like that. It didn't look too Jewish looking. And a bunch of Hasidim came by, and they also were filling together, and they told him, "What are you doing? This is a shegitz. It's not a Jewish guy over here." Anyways, but he told them, what do you mean? He's a grandson of this Rebbe and that Rebbe, all these big tzaddikim. I said, "Oh, wow. Wow. Great big mitzvah."
We want to help you.
As they were driving out from the gas station, he called out, not a grandson of those Rebbes, but a grandson of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. They were also big tzaddikim.
I know a research story like that in reverse. A Ritversky was on a bus, and a lady goes up to him and says, "Rabbi, this is the way they dressed 200 years ago in the old world. They don't do this like this anymore. They don't dress like this. What do you have to be so old-fashioned?" He says, "Excuse me, I'm Amish." "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I'm so sorry. Then he says, "Oh, you see, Amish you respect, but your own Judaism you hate."
Sure. Must have been a yid.
Unfortunately, even the Orthodox people, the vast majority of them, I think, when they put on tefillin, they don't think about what's in it.
Right.
They just
So I'm putting a shaila is a shaila on everyone.
Yeah, just put it.
But they know, yeah. As long as you know this is an ornament of a mitzvah, that's it. You don't need to know the details. You don't need to know the details. You know this is a mitzvah. You don't have to be sophisticated. I know this is a mitzvah. I know my father did it, my grandfather did it. You don't have to think too much. The very basic level kavana to be yoitze. It's a mitzvah. That's it. You don't have. Obviously, we like you to be feel like you're an angel over there, malach. You should really be thinking a lot of special kavanas. But lamaisa, to be yoitze the mitzvah and Torah, you just need to know it's a mitzvah. That's it.
Did the Rebbe answer?
Yeah. He wrote back for a long time.
Back and forth.
Did YH eventually admit to the Rebbe?
It didn't end off. It ended off actually. They found the correspondence a number of years ago in the Rebbe's library. It's never publicized.
Wow.
They were going through the Rebbe's library and they found this correspondence back and forth. So then they published it.
Wow.
It was very
It was in Hechel Menachem, no? 10 years ago about? Is that possible? Yitzchak ben Chana, because I know Rabbi
could
Moses-
be, yeah, it probably
Yitzchak
was.
ben Moses to show it to them. And he
That
was
could be.
saying-
There was also something else that was recent in Heichal Habal Shem Tov. Heichal Habal Shem Tov that came out. There was something much later on, like 10 years later, very late, the most latest, where they ever sent him a new sefer that came out from Kahas of Chassidus. He's a Tzedek. And everyone was saying, "I'm sure you're going to appreciate it, and because you're someone who really likes Chassidus." And he wrote back, "I'm not just someone who likes Chassidus. Chassidus is part of my whole soul, Chabad Chassidus. And it's very part of my whole life."
Which is what the Rebbe was trying to get him to say in the first place.
But he wrote back a beautiful letter. It was published in Heichal Hashem Tov.
What did he write?
I'm saying, he wrote back to the Rebbe that, okay, the Rebbe's writing to me something I enjoy. Heichal Menachem publishes,
Oh, they
Like-
stopped that a long time ago.
yeah, it doesn't come out anymore, right? It was very good.
I think it's 10 years already.
The new Hamara came out, right?
Amor?
Hamara recently.
Ansel?
Your brother-in-law, no?
What's in it? Yeah, what's in
It
it?
didn't come out recently, a new one?
Every week, every month.
Comes out every month, but for Rosh Hashanah,
Yeah,
people get a sign of subscriptions.
I have no idea.
You don't get.
I get one for free, but I don't read it. I give it away usually to him.
Okay, I'll take a look. Okay. Let's take a look. Second half of Zion. Misha talking the skav and lahoitz yikol mishi yishim Tekios. What happens? Someone didn't have a mind, a specific person to be mitzi. He just had a mind. Whoever hears is yoitza. Mishama shemeya v'niskaven lotzes dechivase. He had, and the one who heard did have a mind to be yoitza. Afal pishen at tekem eskaven leploini zesh shama tkiyase v'ni yoidei klal afal pikin yotza hashemeya yidei chivase. It doesn't have to be a private, personal kavanah. As long as its kavanah is that whoever is listening is yoitza and you had kavanah, it's okay, even though the guy who's blowing does not know who you are. To the point, by the way, the extreme of it is, someone's traveling, he's walking on the road on Rosh Hashanah. He's sitting at home. The ending is Siv Zayin. And he hears Tekios from the Shliach Tzibur in Shul, the Chazan, the Baal Tekios. If you had a mind to be Yoitza, you're not in Shul. The Tzibur doesn't have a mind anyone specific. He has a mind to be Yoitza everyone. If he has one person in front of him, two people in front of him, and say, please blow for us, and you're blowing, and someone is somewhere else and listens in and says, I want to be yoitza with that. Not yoitza, because the person's having kavanah for these two. But if the person's blowing for the whole tzibur and shul, there's no kavanah. It's anyone who hears me. He's outside the shul, inside the shul, so wherever you are, you're yoitza.
What's the chiddush?
You would have thought that it's a personal kavanah, you know.
That's what he's making the bracha of out loud. Everyone should be yoitza. Hey, just because you don't know the guy, after we're going to come to Plony's there, yes, he is discovering Plony's there. Discovering every Plony in the room.
Right, but what happens if there's a pliny outside the room and he's on the street?
He's walking by.
He's walking by.
The window is
You have
open.
a yid walking by. He's walking by based on Mendel. He hears them blowing, and he's standing outside for a while. Shofar, Rosh Hashanah. He didn't come to shul on Rosh Hashanah, but he's standing outside. Waits for a few minutes. He hears the whole Tekios. Is he yoitza? Is it not yoitza? You know.
If he's outside, he doesn't even daven, so let him be outside.
He didn't make a bracha. The guy outside. Maybe not made a bracha.
Sivches. Yeah. Well, even if you don't make a bracha, you still yoitza. Yoitza the mitzvah. Yeah. Bracha is not. Bracha is ain't a ma'akfis. Sivches. Misha shamat Tekios mitzvah. Someone who did hear Tekios shofar, but he wasn't sure whether he had kavanah to be yoitza the mitzvah. He was daydreaming, you know. Did I have kavanah to be yoitza or not? Can't recall. So the safek min haTorah. You got to hear it again. Safek min haTorah l'chumra. Someone was walking, and he stopped to hear the Tekios. But afterwards, he had a suffix. Did I really have kavanah, or I just stopped and then I didn't have kavanah? I want to be yoitza. Why? Since we know you didn't action, you stopped from your walking. Chazaka, the assumption is I mean, it works even for deraisa. We're dealing with Tekios with deraisa. We're going to rely on chazaka, an assumption that we assume that you stopped, you had kavanah. This is a more common case of test. Misha bala beis hakneses. Someone came to shul in order to hear Tekios. Kedei l'shmaya Tekios Mashiach tzibur. V'lat tzichavas in tzibur. Came to be yoitza. Now b'shas, they're blowing it later on. An hour later, they're blowing shofar. You didn't have any kavanah. You didn't have any kavanah doing this for mitzvah. Yeah? You were in shul at the time, but you weren't thinking I'm doing mitzvah. You just like it's background, you know. Even if you don't When it comes to kavanah, since you walked into shul to be yoitza, even now you don't have kavanah. You're not having kavanah, a negative kavanah. I don't want to be yoitza. You just didn't have a positive kavanah. I want to be yoitza. We follow your original thought process when you walked into shul. Your original machshava, you came to shul to be yoitza, yoitza. What about the opposite? Someone who did not come to shul any kavanah. He stam went into shul. Shemiskaven biyos the lots was Tekios but you didn't have Kavonoh coming to shul to hear Tekios, I walked into shul. V'yach Hashem of Stam lo yishim Kavonoh. Then you also listen to the Tekios without any Kavonoh. Lo yatsa shemitzvah tzrichas Kavonoh they lots ben yidei chavasan, and therefore you can make it again with a bracha. If you want, you need to make you can make again with a bracha. There's no suffix or doubt that you were not yotza.
So we know we passed this was in a circle to woman.
Only by Derabanan, exactly. And even by a Derabanan,
How do we say stam? Is the under is mechaven?
is that the Undana?
Yeah. Come on, everyone wants to hear it be yaitze. Who wouldn't
So-
want to be yaitze?
So again, you know,
It's the holiest day of the year. People come to shul, they help. They want to hear the shayf. You know that's the main point. 90% of the people that come to shul.
99.
right? So that's the that and Einachanami.
Israel they go.
Einachanami. That's not the Shiloh over here in Shulchan Aruch. Those are all yaitza. It's a minority of cases. It's not talking about. You know, let's say someone came to shul. They were maybe going to go to another shul. Let's say they're planning going to another shul.
He's a politician. He
They were
wants to go to get votes.
Yeah, or he went into shul because there was two shuls. He went to the shul in the morning just for whatever reason is he had to give it to Russia there, like the Chazan. He went to another shul afterwards, but he went in Stamazoi. So it was a yoitzes, and could he make another bracha later on his second Tekios, or do we say there's a suffix now that maybe it was yoitza? You know, things like that. Einachanami, it's not the regular case. Someone's sitting waiting for someone, and he hears Tekios while he's sitting in the shul waiting. He doesn't have any kavanah not to be yoitza. Is he yoitza? Not all necessarily the.
If you heard in the shul and you had kavana in the middle, I'm going to Young Israel next door to hear the rest of the Tekios.
Not a problem.
It's not a problem.
No. You can hear the Tekios an entire day, even if you had interruptions in the middle, you're yoitza. You're in the morning at Tekiah, an hour later. There's stories during the war where people had a shofar and they wanted to blow. They didn't want that the soldiers should hear, and they blew like after when the train was there, and then they had to wait to finish them on the next train. So you yoitza. The chatchila kimuvan, you do them right after another, but you can be yoitza them with hefsek in between. Yeah.
You only have to hear one set.
So the whole next simon discusses these halachas. Let's talk about it out loud. Let's talk it out like that. The Gemara says that Bavo was masakin that we should hear 30 sounds. What are these 30 sounds? It's called 3 times tashrat, 3 times tashat, 3 times tarat. Now what does that mean? Tashrat, sometimes called kashrak. Basically, you have a Rosh Tevis. Tashrat is Tekiah, Shvarim, Trua, Tekiah. Instead of it, we have Tekiah and Trua both start with a Tuf, so a Trua is a Reish. We use a Reish instead. Some, to deal with this, will write, they'll substitute the Tekiah for a Shin, for Kuf instead. Okay, so Tashrat is Tekiah, Shvarim, Trua, Tekiah. You do it 3 times. What does it mean, the Shvarim? 3 short sounds. Tekiah is a longer sound. By the way, Shvarim, I don't want to get into this, but there are different types of ways how to make Shvarim. Some Tehillas do. Yeah, some Shvarim, people do Shvarim 2, 2, 2. Some do them 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. It's made of like 3 parts, each shever. Each shever is made up of 3 parts. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yeah, all with one breath. You make a breath in between, in middle of Shvarim. Show you now, Yaitza.
The Ammonite is very special.
How do they do the Shvarim?
I heard it once years ago. It's different than regular.
Yeah.
Like what? Like what?
I don't remember. I know it's different. Because they have a long shofar. It didn't come out.
That's what it sounds like?
We're doing True Gedola also the other night.
What do they do?
True Gedola.
How long?
It's like at the back of their throat. I don't know how to do it.
How many truas is it?
Those have very long shoulders.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What? In Yemen they have big rams?
They believe for the mitzvah to make it
But
strong.
where do they find these rams?
They have etrogim. They have like this. I saw
Yeah,
etrog
the
like
Yemen
this.
is like watermelon.
Really,
Wow.
I saw etrog last
How do they carry
What is it, the
them?
land of giants?
Heavy. I was in Israel for that. It's like this.
Certain kind of mountain goat.
Yeah, but they have such good goats, they have such good horns.
It's beautiful etrog.
Oh, goat is yours, right? You got with a goat.
They still get them from Yemen?
Yeah.
They're
think
still
so.
shipping them from Yemen?
No, I don't think so, not this year.
No, they
The
can't.
Hutsis and the Hutsis are killing each other, no. The whole field is a roll. The Tutsi roll.
The Ma'aser of Avo said he should bowl 30. So you bowl 30 3 times Tashat. Teruah is at least 9 short sounds. Da, 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 da. You could do much more than 9. Hider mitzvah.
Rebbe Shabbat is 52.
Yeah?
52, the Rebbe Shabbat?
Wow.
The Rebbe Marash.
There were different Rebbeim, the different numbers. You know, those were able to keep count. So now Lamaisa, the next set is Tashat, is Tekios, Shofar, Tekios 3 times. The next final set is Tarat, Tekios, Teruah, Tekios. The ratios for Teruah. Now that altogether is 30 sounds, because even though each set is 9, but Tashrat is made up of 2 sounds in the middle. So you have 12 sounds in the 3 times Tashrat, because every set of Tashrat is 4 sounds. Tekios, Shofar, Teruah, Tekios. And that's 12. Then you have 9 for the next one and 9 for the next one. So altogether 30.
How's the alternative on breathing between Shram Tura and Shram?
Oh, so now,
Definitive is, I mean, a moment of...
Yeah.
You should know it, right?
yeah, so 1 second.
Understand this?
Yeah. The Bavo set to blow this way. Why are we blowing all these different sounds? The Torah only tells us to blow 9 sounds, like mentioned before. Which is Tekiah. It says Yom Teruah Yelachem. It's a day of Teruah. And we learn out from Sukkim that you're supposed to blow a Tekiah before and a Tekiah afterwards. 3 times. Because it says 3 times Teruah in the Torah. And it says by Yovel, Rosh Hashanah, altogether it says 3 times Teruah. And we learn to have each Teruah has to be a sandwich of a Tekiah and Teruah. So it means you have 9 sounds altogether. Tarat, tarat, tarat. So where do we have all these different sounds in the middle? So it's Machlokes. We're showing it Machlokes already from the Goinim, Shainim. One shita is that because of all the tsaras and the different gzeiros, Yidden started to forget how to make the Teruah sound that the Torah required. There was a loss in the Messiah. So because of that, Rebbe Vo, that's the meaning. Rebbe Vo's takana. We should both 30. There's a suffix whether Teruah is the Teruah sound, what we call today the Teruah, at least 9 short sounds, or is the Shvarim 3 short groans, or is it both together 3 Shvarim and then a Teruah together, which is the Tashrat. Because of the suffix, so we do all the sets 3 times, and you yotza all the sveikas that could be. That was a Bevo's takana. Blow Tashat 3 times. If it's a Shvarim and Teruah, that's what a Teruah is. It's a combination of 3 groans, and then you have short sounds, like someone crying. So then that's the set you yotza. But if that's not it, you have the next one Tashat and then Tarat. That's one mahalich. That's the way the Alter Rebbe explains, and most places explain why the Bavo was masakin the 30 koilos because of the suffix. However, there's another shita. Yeah.
Everyone agrees that the Shvarim is always before the Teruah.
Yeah. Because someone who's
That's how they
crying,
cry, it leads up to it.
yeah, and then it breaks down into
It's more intense. First it's less intense, and then it's more.
yeah.
So what they did before Rabbi Abba? How they were...
Oh, until the Bavo came around, there was no problem. Till came to earlier on, they knew they had a Messiah. His time, he saw there was a loss in Messiah. People are lost in Messiah. So he said we got to blow everything that we have today, and that's everyone. We should keep this very strong. And we're blowing these 30.
I know it used to sound more like the Shvarim, or it used to sound more like the Teruah.
Listen, you have like you could think today. There was World War II.
What did they call it though?
It was called Teruah.
Teruah, not Shvarim.
We don't know, we call today Teruah is 9 short sounds.
The Shvarim is also Teruah.
The reality is, it's all of a suffix. What is the Torah called Teruah?
Right.
This one happens to be the one we gave the term Teruah to. Lamaisi, you think about today what happened. World War
Why did they
World
call
War
Teruah
II.
Aleph and Teruah Beis? What's the Shvarim Teruah? Just say Trua, Av,
It'd be confusing, gave different names.
and also confuses him.
Well, Maisa, there was, you could think, you see the time, let's say the war, the Holocaust wiped out so much of Klal Yisrael, and all the yeshivas and the Chachamim were destroyed, and the Sfarim and everything. So the Messiah was lost, and we lost a lot, right? And the level of learning went down tremendously, right? Everyone talks about pre-war. You hear about the learning pre-war. There were little young boys. They were learning. They learned Masechtas by heart, and they were going to yeshiva at 14 years old. They knew 3. So the whole level was very different. So every time there was expulsion in Spain. After that was a whole different level for Yiddishkeit. So Messiah, at different points, certain things were lost, and there were certain takanas. That's one mahalach. There is another mahalach for one of the goinim of High Goin says no. There never was a loss of Messiah in blowing the Torah. Reality is, all of these sounds constitute a Torah. But the Torah refers to Torah. The Torah refers. But the Torah refers to. The Torah refers to Torah. The Torah refers to Torah that each one in itself is called a Torah. A Shvarim is a Torah. A Torah is a Torah. Shvarim, so they're all valid sounds. However, as the time passed, people's kihila started to feel like the sound which we're blowing is the correct one, and the other kihila is blowing that's incorrect. They're not being yoitza. It became like a sort of like it looked like there's like a serious machlekes in Klal Yisrael where some kihilas are blowing the shvarim, that's their tradition. Some are blowing the trua. They're all yoitza. They're all good. But to prevent this machlekes, Bavo said we're all going to blow what everyone else is blowing. Every kilo is going to have to blow all the sets, so we're going to blow 30 altogether. That's the original 30, which we blow right after Kriyas HaTorah, and that's what Yoitzim and HaTorah Tekios. And that's, if someone later on wants to hear it, you blow those 30, or for a woman, those 30 the main ones, in HaTorah. If you do those 30, you're Yoitzim L'chol HaDeis.
Rabau did it himself, or has to get all the Rabbanim or
Well, they have to agree with him, but it was his idea. It was his initiative. So it was his name. If no one agreed with, if they didn't agree with him, we wouldn't be doing it today. It wouldn't have made it. The fact that it made it and it took off because it was accepted.
Because usually Sanhedrin has a new rule, a new mitzvah.
Right.
Something.
If Avo was later on, Sanhedrin was no longer around, but that was accepted. The Gemara already brings down this from Avo, and it was accepted. And all the Klal Yisrael accepted this.
It was a Amora or Tanakh?
Yeah, Amora.
The Mechuvalim also say for the strength of our time.
Yeah? Uh-huh. Now, he's saying the Zohar says that they're all kosher. Right, but there was only... But a lot of times you find certain times the Zohar's explanation of things can fit with a certain side of Machlekes and Mishnah.
The Zohar explains that in their time, some people look at this way, some people look at that way, and they're all kosher.
Right.
Just later on,
You remember where you saw it in the Zohar?
Yeah.
Where in the Zohar it says?
Probably in Parashat Pinchas.
Yeah?
We should try to do all the different ones.
We do all the
No,
Teshvat.
just do 2 types of shvar, so 2 types of truth. Why don't we do? We should try to.
That's all Hiddur Mitzvah. Your Yoitz and 9 Choladeis.
Not the amount.
Not only that,
the
there's
actual form of the truth.
Well,
Actual sound is
we
only
don't-
going to do 2 kinds.
only what it
It's
says in
funny,
Gemara.
right?
Only what it says in Gemara. All of Klal Yisrael, Sfardim, Ashkenazim, everyone is mechuyev to the Gemara.
Yeah,
After the time of the Gemara, there's no one bad work that's mechuyev in all of Klal Yisrael.
I understand, but I'm
So we
saying
have someone else does another minig, that's their minig, but they can't impose on anyone else.
Of course not. I'm just saying. Sometimes you see these people. We spoke about the Rosh Hashanah, his son-in-law. His name is Rabbi Yonason David. He on his table has a Moroccan esrog, a Taimani esrog, Yanov esrog,
David or Davis?
David. David, right? He has on his table, and all the people that come are shaking after davening.
It's a nice thing, but it's not for everyone. It's
Right,
not,
but I'm
it's
just
not
saying,
everyone
though,
to do
that-
those things.
Just wondering.
Everyone should keep to their minig.
Are there briskets?
He wants to be machmer mahadar himself to do all the different cycles. But beautiful, but very nice for you. But for the call,
Can't
Yeah.
force the people.
I'm just giving it as an example.
I'll tell
I'm
you
wondering if
something.
there are people
The
like
Rebbeim,
briskets, are
the
there
Rebbeim
briskets that
used-
want in every single shul. I see like a brisket after davening, having a Moroccan lineup and all kinds of people and blow for it. What?
Different shaver also, the up shaver.
Right.
I think the
That's all
Shofar
day.
Aruch, by the way, if you can say any sefer is
right?
universal, it would be the Shofar
yeah.
Aruch. And for many, the Rav, Shofar Aruch.
Right.
That's the main.
But even the Shulchan Aruch has two parts. You have the actual Shulchan Aruch, then you have the notes of the Ramah. So the Ramah are accepted with Ashkenazim, and we don't have today. After the time, the Gemara is binding. The rules of Gemara are accepted. All of Klal Yisrael accepted the Gemara. It means it's binding in everyone. The question is interpretation. Interpretation is machlokes in interpretation. The Sfardish Rishonim, the Ashkenazi Rishonim. There's always machlok what the Gemara meant, but at the end of the day, you have to find yourself a source in the Gemara. If you don't, it's not part of Teresh Shalom Peh. It's not.
I think the Rambam, if I'm not mistaken,
The Mishnah Torah.
he said, I think I'm not mistaken, that you can change a mitzvah or halacha according to the atmosphere or what's happening in that country or something.
No.
Something like that.
You can't change it.
You don't-
Then we have a lot of changes.
No.
Did you have an
That's time. You have to.
example?
All the rabbi agree.
Maybe it said something a little bit different. You have to
Something
Talking
different.
about the name note.
Maybe.
In the name note, in financial issues,
Minig Hamadina.
there's a thing called Minhag HaMedina.
Yeah.
So if the Minhag HaMedina is contrary to the Torah law, the Minhag HaMedina is what to do.
No,
That
that's
could
not
be.
what minhag means.
I have to look. I don't.
Okay.
Because if
Okay.
it is not, if it's contrary to Torah law,
No.
there is no Torah law on it.
So if there's no minute, there's
Well,
The din of Machlosh din is not. It's only if it doesn't contradict the Torah law.
No, like let's say for instance,
Like a landlord-tenant, okay?
Yeah.
There's dozens of landlord-tenant issues that are committed, that we go committed in a din.
yeah, but not according to the Torah law. Like for
No, but
instance,
it's not a contradiction.
no, but now sometimes even if it is a contradiction, when you enter into this contract, so it's
Amanah. If you make a Tanai, there's a rule called Tanai Shebamam and Kayim. Any condition that if you both the parties agreed, so let's say you
Right.
both signed an American legal
Right,
document, then
right.
you bound yourself by these rules.
You
Well,
have to sign it.
you have right. You have the person has rights to. If a person has rights to damage his money or give away his money, so he could also sign up and say I'm willing to go with this system.
I
Now,
had such a shit issue once with a boiler. I was learning culinary at Israel. And this old guy, renting an apartment from him, put a little clause in the bottom of the lease. If anything should happen to anything in the apartment, no matter what, light bulb, a boiler, I have to pay. So I didn't even realize I signed that in Hebrew. So comes 2 months we're in the apartment and the boiler breaks. The boiler was 20 years old, junk. And it so happened that it had about another 3 months left, and my mom was. So he says, "You gotta pay for it." You shake it? I gotta pay for this? He says, "Yep, it's in the lease." I said, "Well, so what? It's going against what the Torah says. The method of course. I didn't know that I was signed it." We went to our Scheinberg, and he said we should split the difference.
wow.
I had to pay
Well, the deer-
$500 for a boiler.
20-year-old boy.
20-year-old boy. Maybe it was even 30 years old.
Yeah. So Lamaisa Rabbi said that's what's called.
But it's not halacha.
Yeah.
He's the balabos. I don't have to pay for it. I'm a soicher, and a soicher has to pay. No, but not if you.
No, unless you weren't negligent. You were
No, but a soicher has to pay for it.
Now, boy say, like
This
this.
guy was
Tekios
PIT.
Listen,
originally,
he's an ugly MS now.
Chazal
Not eating
wanted.
any kid.
Chazal wanted that we should hear the Tekios. These 30 koilas should be on the brachas. In Shemoneh Esrei we have Malchias, Zechroines, and Shofar. We have special 3 brachas that we say Usual Shemona Esrei Yom Tov is 7 brachas. 3 in the beginning, 3 in the ending, just like during the week. In the middle, we have 1 bracha, Mekadosh Shabbos, let's say, right?
Yeah.
On a regular Yom Tov, Mekadosh Yisrael Bazmanim. But in Rosh Hashanah is unique. We have 3 brachas: Malchias, Zechroinis, and Shofars. We talk about how Psukim, how Hashem is a Melech, and we have a bracha that finishes off about Hashem's Malchus. We talk about Hashem's our memory. Hashem should remember us that we were by Har Sinai. Remember this, remember that, remember that Keda. Zechroinis. Then we finish off Baruch Atah Hashem Zoycha Bris. We talk about Hashem being someone that remembers the covenant. The third thing is Shofars. We talk about Psukim that mention Shofar. Throughout Tanakh, we have a lot of Psukim that discuss the blowing of a Shofar, all pulled together, and that's the third set of brachas, Shofars. Chazal wanted that these Tekios that we blow, these 30 Tekios, should be blown on the Seder of the brachas, with the brachas, meaning to help the Malchias, the Zechroinis, and Shofars process quickly and well. We should blow Shofar on the brachas. After you finish Malchias, blow a set of Tashrat. After you finish Zechroinis, blow a set of Tarat. Or after Shofars, blow another set of Tashrat. So the Meshech, Shemona Esrei, you did 30 koilas. However, Chazal at one point, the times of Rabbi Yitzchak in Gemara, Chazal, the Satan was getting very strong, and Chazal felt his important need before we daven Shemona Esrei is the most important Musaf Shemona Esrei is the most important davening. Rosh Hashanah, it's a very special davening, and that's really where we're getting our everything we need. So that Shemona Esrei should be without the Satan disturbing us. Shouldn't be able to disturb us during Musaf. The Katrik during Musaf. Chazal wanted us to blow Shofar before a set of Tekios before Shemona Esrei, to blow those Tekios before, in order you should be ma'arv of him during Shemona Esrei. He should be all confused. So Lamaisa came out like this. Originally, there was 9 Tekios to be blown, 9 sounds. Became a suffix. Ravo said to both 30. Chazal wanted those 30 should be on the bracha, so they used to blow them during Shemona Esrei. Chazar Sashatz. They wouldn't do it during this quiet Shemona Esrei. Blow the 30, and that's how you yoitzim in Torah your Tekios. However, then later on at point there was a special takana to ma'arv the Satan, to confuse the Satan before we daven Shemona Esrei Musaf. We blow Shofar before. So now we're going to blow twice. We're going to blow before, and we're blowing during Shemona Esrei. Now, once we're blowing before, we're already yoitzim min Torah before. So it became, the minig is that we're yoitz our Tekios min Torah with the Tekios right after Kriyas HaTorah. We blow Tekios to be yoitz min Torah. Then we go to do the Tekios min Rabbanan that Chazal wanted us to do on the brachas.
1 second. The first 9 are the Torah, but after that it's Torah.
But it's a suffix. So all 30 are the suffix min Torah.
Originally, during Shemona Esrei, they only blew 3 after each bracha until Rabbi Adahu.
Right. Right? But then when Ravo came around, they were doing all of them, all 30. They were doing 3 each. Now, this became known as Tekios Miyoshev and Tekios Me'omid. The first set is called Miyoshev, the second set Me'omid. So again, Miyoshev is Min HaTorah, and Me'omid is Min Rabbanan. That's Miyoshev and that's Min HaTorah.
Okay, because the Baal HaMa'or explains things totally different.
Well, Mit Hashem, a lot of different discussions in Rishonim about what's the Iker Tekios, which one's the Yoitza, but halach, I'm talking halacha l'maisa.
Me'omed, you have to have kavanah?
There were shittas that said that no, Yoitz, that the first Tekios are only la'arva satan, confuse the satan. That's not the ones who Yoitza min HaTorah. The Yoitza min HaTorah were the ones that are on Musaf Shemona Esrei. But the halacha l'maisa, our kavanah for being Yoitza min HaTorah is by the first ones. There is deis out there is opinions out there that you yoitz with the second, but that's not the Kabbalah. Now, Why the first one's called miyushiv, sitting, and the second one's called standing? The answer is like this. The first reality is shofar, you do not need to stand for the mitzvah shofar. There's no halacha, it doesn't say anywhere that you have to stand. Except the Baal Tekios is supposed to stand. The Baal Tekios himself, we have a drasha based on the pasuk Yoim Trua Yilachem. We learn out from the word lachem, which says also by Sfira Sa'omer, and Sfira Sa'omer, it says the word bakama, by the stalks of wheat. We learn out that you should stand by Sfira Sa'omer. So too, it's a din d'Rabbanan, it's a chiv d'Rabbanan, that the Baal Tekios has to stand. It's not a drashim and a Torah.
Who is the
But now the Baal Tekios, the one who blowing shofar, has to stand. So everyone else is allowed to sit. So therefore, the first set of Tekios that we do after Kriyas Torah became called as Tekios Miyushiv. Now the minig has already been for many generations, and in time of Shulchan Aruch already, the minig is the whole tzibur stands as well. But it's not a chiyuv. Sephardim sits?
We sit, yeah.
Okay.
We had a tekiah at Sinai, at Hart, at the and we stood, we didn't sit down. So that certainly...
Listen, the Shechina was there, so...
Alright.
And Moshe and Aaron were there too. You don't sit in front of Moshe.
Well, Maisa, we're not mechuyev. You're not mechuyev to... You're not mechuyev to stand. The minig became, it's not covered at tzibur, covered of the mitzvah, the covered at tzibur is a special chashuv, everyone stands. But since originally there's no chiyuv for everyone to stand, only the Baal Tekios, so it's called Tekios Miyushiv. The ones on the Shemoneh Esrei are called Tekios moment. Now, originally the blowing of Tekios, and not only originally, today also in some Kehilas, Ashkenazi Kehilas, they only blow Tekios during the Chazaras HaShatz, not during the Shtilah Shemoneh Esrei, the Lachash. Now, why are they called Tekios moment during Chazaras HaShatz? Because since there's an opinion that you're supposed to stand during Chazaras HaShatz, not only the Chazan stands, but the Kol shall stand. There are people that are machmer. Till today, there are people that are machmer to stand for Chazaras HaShatz. Because of that, this is the Alter Rebbe's explanation. That's why the second set of Tekios are called Ma'umid. They're called Tekios Ma'umid. Standing Tekios, because they're during Shemoneh Esrei. So that's called Miyushiv and Ma'umid. Miyushiv, I'm all talking halacha l'maisa. In different opinions, a lot of different opinions in discussion. And the Tekios Miyushiv has been a Torah, and the Ma'umid is the Rabbanan. So those people that are the women that come to shul, they want to hear, or someone who can't stay throughout the whole davening, should come from Miyushiv, the first 30, that's the main Tekios. Now, since the Tekios Ma'umid is the Rabbanan, it's all part and parcel of the Miyushiv, we shouldn't talk in between. So the bracha that you said originally, the bracha l'shmaya koil shofar before miyushiv should go on the Ma'umid also. Therefore, you don't talk till after Shemoneh Esrei is over. Till after Shemoneh Esrei is finished. But if you did, you don't make another bracha. If someone goes to the bathroom, they can say Asher Yatzar. People can say Tehillim, but nothing to do with shouldn't talk anything else not pertaining to davening or. So that's the minig is that we go no, but there's no talking. Now, what happened was there's also says in Sfarim, there's an inyan to blow 100 Tekios on Rosh Hashanah. An inyan to blow 100 sounds. This is based on has leanings in the story of Sisera. The mother of Sisera was crying. There's hints to it that there should be 100 cries. There should be 100. This is something has to do with Kabbalah. There's an inyan to blow 100. This is brought in early Rishonim. The Aruch already mentions it. There was a very nice minig, he says, to blow 100 sounds in Rosh Hashanah. So that's a minig. It's not the chiyuv midaraisa, the chiyuv midarabanan. Midaraisa you have miyushiv. Midarabanan you blew another 30 on the Chazaras HaShatz. It's 60 sounds altogether. The minig was to do 100 Tekios altogether. Means what they would do is after davening, they would complete another 40 after davening. Right, the mother is Sisra. A lot of the things that Tekios Shofar learned out exactly what the sound was from the. Yeah, the Gemara, it says the Gemara that Sisra's mother was crying and waiting for Sisra to come back from battle, which he never did. He was killed by Yoel Akeni in the tent. Yael, but
Yoel was her cousin.
now there's a lot of hints to it, and in the story. Now Lamaisa,
So
we have a minute. The really
Goita, not a goy.
We learn it from a goy.
with the psukim, we learn from the psukim that I've talked about that there's an inyan of blowing 100. By the way, it says the schach of the sukkis, the schach is a continuation of the Tekios of Rosh Hashanah. Schach is a gematria 100. The Tekios of Rosh Hashanah play out into the cloud of the Ketores on Yom Kippur that was in the Aron but that Kohen Gadol, which the cloud created the schach on Rosh Hashanah. On
Before the
Sukkot.
internet.
And then they're covered,
The
yeah.
internet. It's also a gematria 100.
All the, by the way, all the Yom Tovim, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, are all interrelated. It's not like punkt we happen to have a Tishrei smack a lot of Yom Tovim. It's all, when you look into Medrash, you look into Chassidus, it's all one hemshech to each other. The Medrash says that what is the symbolism of going out with the lulav on the first day of Sukkot is Didan Notzach, we won. We're announcing, we're holding our banner that we won over the Yetzer Hara, and we were successful in having the Aksir of Simchat Torah. So it's all one hemshich, culminating with Simchas Torah. That's the ultimate. We finally finished the whole avodah of Tishrei. Ain't kanamokim, but this is the it's all one continuation.
I have a question.
1 week from last night.
The Tekios, we do the extra to mess up the Satan.
Yeah.
The Satan for thousands of years, every year he did the same thing. He doesn't know it.
It's a very good question. A lot of Mefarshim discuss it. One of the discussions is, there's one explanation is, listen, he knows when when there's going to be the shofar gadol is going to be blown when Mashiach comes. That's the time of his misa.
Yeah.
So whenever he hears that sound, he doesn't like it. It reminds him he doesn't have good.
Finished.
He doesn't like good thoughts when he hears that sound. It's like it's not good. It sounds like I'm going to die one day. He doesn't want to hear about that. That's confusing for him. The Rebbe one time explained it like this: that what's la'arva satan? That we blow 2 sets of tkiyos. We blow an additional set of tkiyos. The arva satan is that the satan sees a Klal Yisrael is going beyond the law, and Chachamim said that Klal Yisrael should blow a second set of tkiyos. So he's trying to bring out a kitrug in Klal Yisrael, prosecute against Klal Yisrael on Rosh Hashanah. Here, Klal Yisrael is saying we're not only doing what you told us to do, we're doing extra tkiyos. You're staying in shul longer and you're doing extra tkiyos. So true, he knows that this is a kavanah, but the fact of the matter is the Klal Yisrael is doing it. So it's a schus. So the schus itself is being mevalvel him. The schus that we have is hurting him. He can't. Confusing him means not that he doesn't know what's going on. He's a malach. He knows what's going on. He's a malach hamavis. He's not a shaita, but he's far from a shaita. But he understands that it's not good for him that we're doing extra mitzvahs. So if we're doing anything extra, that confuses him. We're going extra, so that's hard for him to prosecute Rosh Hashanah. Look, yes, they weren't good this year. They did a lot of things they shouldn't have been doing. But look, they're now Rosh Hashanah. They're all coming to shul, and they're all crying out the heart Hashem, and they're blowing extra tkiyos. So that's ma'arv of him. It's hard for him to prosecute.
We did that last year too.
And as long as we continue doing that,
A bad memory.
as long as we continue doing that, he's not happy because we are continuing to show Hashem that we're going to come back to him.
But instead of blowing, why don't we sit down and learn some halachos?
Okay, well, Chachamim knew how.
Talking about getting angry, he doesn't get so angry when you blow a ram's horn as much as.
So then we'll have to add in the fact that we also wanted this sound is a good sound for him. It's a sound of it. It reminds him of the Kabbah Shofar Gadol, the Yom HaMavet. He knows the Mashiach comes. Bila HaMavet L'Netzach.
We had a Farbrengen before.
Talk about Hilchos Beis.
Maybe we should have a Farbrengen
also
before.
not going to be the one.
And something that would
We enact it,
You have the big bottle of Mashka. That guy will be flattened.
So Lamaisa. Now I wanted to explain like this. What happened was it was considered a mitzvah min mufchar to blow also on tefillah of the yachid. Tefillah halachash to blow 30. Which if you would blow by tefillah halachash, I mean you already have 90 tekios during davening. 30 by Yoshev, 30 by the quiet Shemini Esrei, another 30 by Chazar Sashat. You'd only be missing 10, which that we blow during the Kaddish. Afterwards, you will tend you have a full 100 tekiyas that you should be blowing. Al Pi Kabbalah, Al Pi this minig already mentioned. We show him is the Indian to blow 100 tekiyas. Now, the minig Ashkenazim who don't blow on the still Shemini Esrei, so they have to be mashlim 40. They're mashlim 40 after davening. Chasidim and Sfardim blow a 30 also by the quiet Shemini Esrei. The Alter Rebbe in his Shulchan Aruch actually said the minig was like he wrote like the minig Ashkenazim that you don't blow during the quiet Shemini Esrei. But in his Siddur, when he wrote in the Siddur his Tfilos Musaf, he wrote that you should blow also by the quiet Shemini Esrei. So that's the minig. That was from the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov the Arizal spoke about. It's a big inyan. Baal Shem Tov is a big inyan in blowing also on the Tekios during the Tefillah B'Lachash. So that's why all Chassidim blow and all Sfardim blow. I think most of the Klal Yisrael today blows also on the Tekios during the Lachash. So they're only missing 10 during after davening. They do another 10 to mash them to the number 100. The minig is to do 100. Now after the very ending of davening, you have kilos that have a minig to blow another 30. Another 30. That's altogether 100. Where does this other 30 come in? It's not supposed to be 130, it's supposed to be 100. So some say the 30 is again some type of confusion of the Satan. One final 30. Others say that in our Machzorim, that's what it says, that another 30 is it's written in the Machzorim. It's not, the Alter Rebbe never wrote a Machzor. In his Siddur, he had like the Shemini Esrei Rosh Hashanah he put a little bit, but not a full Machzor. This comes from later prints of Machzorim, Chabad Machzorim that have it in, but actually in Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe says inside that the reason why we blow this 30 is in case someone maybe wasn't Yoitza during Shemini Esrei, he'll be Yoitza with the final 30. So L'maisa, in the ending of the day, you hear 130 koilos. Now, what happens if someone is not davening B'tzibur Rosh Hashanah? For some reason, he can't daven B'tzibur. So you're not allowed to blow Tekios during Shemini Esrei. So if you're b'yichidus, you're davening b'yichidus, but you have a shofar with you, or someone else is blowing for you, you could hear before and you could hear after, but not during Shemini Esrei, because the takana blowing Tekios during Shemini Esrei was only b'tzibur. So no tzibur, you don't blow during Musaf. Why? But you can blow an extra 70 after Musaf or before or whatever to be yoytz to the 100. If you want to get the number of 100, which there's an inyan to do 100, a minig to do 100, you can do it straight to 100. Separate it, but not during Shemini Esrei, because that Chazal only kaveya that you should be masik in Shemini Esrei was only b'tzibur. No.
Is the extra 30 though, can it also be within the average that's a son?
I tell you, very hard for me to understand the last 30. We blew so many already. But the Lamaisa.
What happens if somebody walks in and they only have time for the last 30? Can they make a bracha?
Yeah. If the person's having a mind to moitz them, yeah, you can make a bracha.
The blower is only having a mind to be.
The blower already made the bracha all the way.
Well, he can't make a bracha, the blower, but that person can make a bracha.
So that person,
even though him is their rights and the blower is their above.
No, but he has to tell the blower that he's making the bracha, or he could just make his own bracha. And
I would better tell him. Better tell him.
That's just making a very.
I would tell him. I would whisper to him.
Right, because then he's blowing out not their above but their rights.
By the way, there are shuls where you have it, where a lot of times at the ending of davening, the Baal Tekios doesn't have koyach anymore. He gives the shofar over to someone else to blow the last 30. Right. And a lot of times you have in different shuls where people, some people are saying not so happy with the Baal Tekei. People are happy with the Chazan, the Baal Tekei. So someone, whatever it was, or whatever, a medaktik mitzvahs, he didn't like how he knew all the halachas. He's like, the shever could have been a little bit shorter, a little longer, the trua. So therefore, when someone else blows the last 30, it's like a time to chaperayim here again and make sure you fully yaitzi,
To step the rub.
No, we're saying that. So
Not to make my point.
Make that bracha, then the last 30 becomes the raisa and not necessarily the abundant. Because if the Baal Tekios knows about it, and this other guy is making.
The Rebbe was the Baal Tekios, but he wasn't the master Baal Tekios. He was the Rebbe. He blew. No, the Rebbe only blew the first 30. It was a Yid. Yeah. It was a Yid. Rabbi Tannenbaum showed me he was the Manal of the yeshiva. He blew. Originally, actually, the Rebbe didn't blow. Right when it came, the first.
Since I'm a kid,
First year, in the early years, the Rebbe did not blow all the Tekios. The Rebbe blew. The early years, the Rebbe only, I heard from Elter Chassidim, the Rebbe only blew the first Tekios. The early years, the Rebbe blew only the first Tekios. But then at a certain point, the Rebbe started blowing the whole first 30.
before the mitzvah.
And then, and Chassidim always listed the Tekios, and by them, if the Tekios didn't go good, it was a siman as the Nishta Gutta Yara, but everyone was very nervous by Tekios. Tekios is a very...
And he would do it clear, but not loud, it was clear.
You say the Rebbe did the first kid, so what is it, just the first? No?
Just took the shofar and did the first Tekios.
That's it?
Early
He had
years.
a whole bunch of different
I don't remember what year.
Why would they at least do
Yes.
9?
The Rebbe didn't hold that he was a Baal Tekei, and he didn't want to do the whole. He was pushed into it. The beginning, Rabbi Tannenbaum or whoever was then handed the Rebbe the shofar. The Rebbe didn't want to do it. He put the shofar in front of the Rebbe, pushed the Rebbe to do it. The Rebbe didn't want to do it. The Rebbe was.
Loud?
Ik denk niet. Maybe the Moshe members.
Average? They were average?
Yeah, but I was close, so.
It was very quiet. It was very quiet, so no one's making.
Me? No, where on Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah, right.
They say there was a guy that came and took some pictures or video or something.
Wow.
No, but the Rebbe had others. He had more than one shofar.
The New York Times reporter or something.
Because they have the Rebbe saying the Psukim.
No, but that they. No, they
No. They
don't have it.
They have the Rebbe, yeah.
I don't think so, but
Maybe it's on Rosh.
I don't think so.
How is
There was the Avnei Nezer, one of the Chassidus, the Kotzker Chassidus, held that even though there's very big Helik Kavonis, the dafka blow on the quiet Shemoneh Esrei, but they held it's only meant for tzaddikim, not for the klal. Therefore, they were machzik in the minig. They were the only chassidim that were machzik in the minig, not to blow on the Shtila Shemoneh Esrei. But they said it's taka grace zach, but it's not for everyone. It's only someone who fears a chapi kabbalah should do that. But lamaisa, all other chassidim didn't hold. I wonder what Garrett tells taka. The Milchas Elazar and the Munkacher wrote a very sharp and quiet Shemoneh Esrei also. He said they do. Munkacher wrote very strong answer to the Avnei Nezer. The Sachachav was a son-in-law of the Kotzker Rebbe, and he responded to him explaining that no, that it's for everyone. Everyone should blow on the quiet Shemoneh Esrei. He explained all the kavanas. These kavanas are associated with everyone. It's not only someone who is a big tzaddik, and everyone should do it. And that's why that all chassidim blow. The minyanim shouldn't be only for tzaddikim. Everyone should do it. I think only a straight Yekka shul won't do it. That's what my understanding is. Now, what did Litva should do? Anyone knows what the Litva should do? Anyone knows what the Litva should do? They blow up. They don't? They don't blow? Yeah. No, they don't. Okay, so they follow the Minig Ashkenaz. That's the Minig Ashkenaz.
Did you tell them the Meister of the Alter Rebbe and
Because it's a man.
no, and market?
Oh, that was a good story.
Say the story. But Napoleon.
No, it's
Musician
when
market
he
was looking for somebody one year to blow
Blow.
Tekios. He asked for volunteer. So the Alter Rebbe volunteered. So he was so happy. His prize student has been learned. So he says, but before you have to teach me the Kavonos, because otherwise I can't blow. So he taught him all the Kavonos, and then he told him he can't blow.
And he says he's not blowing.
He's not blowing. So he says, why can't
He said you tricked me.
Yeah. So you want to finish the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he told the Alter Rebbe, that's not fair, you tricked me. So he says, I learned from you.
No. He said that we learned to blow when we were a kid. I was never a child. He says, but he says a raya from Moshe Rabbeinu. When Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shemayim, he asked him, first of all, how do they call you and all these things. I'm sorry, by
He asked Hashem, what is your name?
Yeah, what is your name?
How will I know?
So after he told him all these
Moshe
things,
didn't go.
Moshe said he can't go because or else
Exactly.
Messiah.
He said, I learned from Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yeah.
God said to him, okay, I'll tell you my name, but you won't see me.
He tricked him as a shemag because he wanted to learn the Kavonos.
Why didn't he want to blow?
Because he said,
The story has a Kabbalah by Chassidim?
Yeah.
I don't know, I heard it from somewhere.
Famous story.
No, the Maisa with the... They say it was a Kashas Magid, it's a Machlekes too, but with the Alter Rebbe and Napoleon, by blowing the Shukabel Shofar first. That was... No, there was Shiloh, there was different Tzaddikim wanted the different sides to win during the war of Napoleon with the Tsar.
Right.
So
Napoleon.
they all understood that whoever's going to have a chance to blow shofar first, whoever tzaddik, that's going to be machriya.
Exactly.
So the Alter Rebbe went and blew shofar before that.